Hello, I'm attorney Paul Whalen from Afford Law. At Afford Law, we practice criminal and family law throughout Massachusetts at a reduced rate. Our fees are based on your income, so the less you make, the less you have to pay. It's casual day today here at Afford Law, but I did just want to take a moment to come in and talk to you for just a few minutes about the charge of breaking and entering in Massachusetts. What is breaking and entering in Massachusetts? Well, first of all, understand that it depends on the specific facts of your case. It can be charged as a felony or as a misdemeanor. In fact, you'll hear two separate charges or more than two charges, but you'll hear it referred to in a couple of different ways. The felony charge would be breaking and entering in the nighttime in order to commit a felony. It's also called breaking and entering in the nighttime for a felony. Or it can be breaking and entering in the daytime for a misdemeanor. Or, to make things more complicated, breaking and entering in the nighttime for a misdemeanor, and so forth. So there are two separate elements, if you will, about the charge itself, about how to categorize the charge. That is, what time did it take place, and what was the reason for breaking and entering that particular building. So, is it nighttime? Is it daytime? Usually, that's pretty clear. If, say, for instance, that a person is caught inside a house, let's say, but sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes people will get up in the morning, get into their car, about to go to work, for instance, and notice that things have been moved around, and they find out that some things are missing from their car, loose change, cell phone carriers, wallet, perhaps things along those lines are missing. So the person parked the car, let's say in the afternoon, slept all night, got up in the morning. So it's not clear when that break in took place. So it would be very difficult for the Commonwealth to prove that the break in took place in the nighttime, because it could have taken place early in the morning or earlier in that or later in the afternoon the day before. So that's one of the things that the court will look to when deciding how and if the Commonwealth can support their charges. The second thing is, what was the purpose of the break-in? So if somebody breaks into your house and they want to steal your jewelry, so that would be the underlying charge. The reason for breaking into the house would be a larceny over $1,200, which would make it a felony. Therefore, breaking and entering for a felony. Again, there's the time part, the day part that needs to be proven as well. But if they can prove that you were trying to commit a felony in the during the break-in, it will be charged as a felony. If, for instance, it's just the most that they can prove is a trespass, that you broke and entered just merely to get into that house, then you'd be trespassing, which is a misdemeanor, and they would charge you as a breaking and entering for whatever time of day it was for a misdemeanor. So those are the kind of the categories that charge falls into. As far as proving the case, proving the charge itself, the elements are breaking and entering, as the name obviously suggests. So those are two separate things. Breaking. What is a break? Let's just take a house for as an example. What is meant by breaking into a house? Well, clearly anything that comes to mind at first is going to be a breaking, right? So if somebody kicks down the door, or if somebody jimmies the lock to get in, or I'm not sure what else you would do to break in, prise open the door with a crowbar, something along those lines. Clearly, that's breaking in order to enter the house, right? Okay. There are some cases that are not so clear about whether a break has taken place. The case law in Massachusetts states that moving any obstacle, no matter how slightly, can be considered a break. For instance, sometimes I've had cases where someone will tell me, I didn't break into the house. The front door was open. I merely opened the screen door and walked in. That's a break, because you had to move the screen door in order to gain entry into the house. Okay. So no matter how slight that is, if you had to push a 2x4 aside so that you could walk into the house, that can be considered a break as well. If you enter the house through any means that is not intended, as a common entry and exit in the house. So, for instance, you climb in through the window. There's an open window, and you climb in through it. So you haven't even actually moved anything, but your entry point is such that it's not something that the homeowner uses as a normal course of entry and exit from the house. So that's considered a break as well. So that's the breaking. What is an entering? Entering is anything, any the slightest breaking of the plane of the outer line of the home, for instance. So it's like in football, when someone's trying to decide, is it a touchdown, is it not a touchdown? The football has to break the plane of the goal line, so it just has to cross it. And the same thing is true with an entering. So you can walk into the house, that you've entered the house. If you stick your arm through a window, you've entered the house. Okay. If you have any implements, if you stick a claw grabber thing that people have to grab a purse that's on the table and retrieve it, you've entered that house for the purposes of a breaking and entering charge. So breaking and entering charges, very serious charges, can be felonies, which make it even more serious. And if it involves a home, um, the judges, the Commonwealth, treat it very uh, much more seriously because it's an invasion into somebody's home. It's very serious matter. But if somebody is having their home violated, that's going to be treated much more seriously. Therefore, you need to take it much more seriously as well. So at Afford Law, we do practice criminal and family law throughout Massachusetts. All of our fees are based on a sliding scale. That sliding scale is based on your income. So the less money that you make, the less money you have to pay us to represent you. We're making ourselves as affordable as possible because we want the working men and women of Massachusetts to have a voice in the courtroom. Please visit us at affordlaw.org. We would like to answer any of your questions you have. Feel free to book a free virtual, no obligation consultation with us. I'd be happy to answer any specific questions you have about your case. At Afford Law, we're making justice affordable. Thank you.